Bismillah, in this video we're going to explore auditing tips. I would like to share the tips that has been shared by my teachers in auditing there, and from my experience and from other people's experience as well. There are three particular focus that I would like to share: asking questions, communicating concerns, and writing audit finding. Now, about asking question, ask to understand their process but not challenging. Okay, ask in a way that you don't challenge. Okay, like macam asking, you don't do this. Okay, you should be doing this and etc. apa semua. Okay, you should be focusing on when you ask, you want to try to understand why is it that they are doing it. Okay, you want to understand the reason why they are doing it and whether it works for them or not. You ask them that. Okay, you ask them that. If you think that it's a problem, give them situation and ask them to answer how do they actually rectify it. If they realize that they acknowledge that there's a weakness in their system, that's when you actually want to be focusing on. Okay, number two, instead of asking why you do this, ask how does it benefit the department. This is just a psychological perspective. Like, you may still ask this, why do you do this like this? Okay, but there's this little hint of when you ask this suddenly, it sounds challenging. It sounds like when you ask this, why do you do this? Okay, especially in the tonality itself. It may put the auditee at a defensive state. Okay, so you might want to avoid this. Instead, you can ask, how does this benefit the department? How does by doing this actually solve this problem? Okay, this kind of question. Okay, so this is two here to make it sound less likely that you are challenging. Number three is that post more open-ended question, okay, rather than close-ended question, so that they can express more and they can explain more. Okay, instead of just fixing it to, but it depends on certain context as well. There are certain close-ended questions that need to be asked, but followed by open-ended question to encourage them to express and explain their processes. Now, about communicating concerns, be considerate when communicating. Okay, don't be too demanding, don't be too directing, don't be nak katanya explain know it all. Okay, be the know it all and dictate what they should be doing, for example, right? Only give suggestion if they request for it, or if they couldn't answer certain things. That's the only time. Okay, that's usually the only time whereby you can offer a suggestion. Okay, do not dictate or do not even impose. Just because your department does it better, doesn't mean that other departments need to follow. Okay, it might be that it doesn't work for them. If they think that they do not know how to rectify certain risks, okay, and then they ask, well, how does your department do it? Okay, that's when you can share some good practices that may be available from other departments or even your own departments. But do not impose. Okay, saying that you have to do this because other departments are doing that. Okay, so you can only remind the department that they have to do certain things because it is based on certain policy. Okay, because it's based on certain policy. Like, for example, the policy of monitoring students' attendance. So there must be an evidence that lecturers are monitoring the students' attendance. Okay, so but the way it is to be monitored, there is flexibility in that. So don't impose on that. But if you found that the department or certain lecturer does not monitor at all, okay, attendance, and that is against the policy of the center, so that one you can say that the lecturer must monitor the student attendance. Okay, but other than that, okay, there are flexibility of that. Okay, so be considerate when communicating, be open and flexible when requesting evidence. Okay, so don't just be strict by saying that if you want to request for, did the vetting session happen, let's say, for example, and the only evidence that you can accept would be minutes of meeting. That's not fair, okay, because different departments, they operate differently. Okay, our concern is so that we make sure that the quality control method is actually practiced. So whatever evidence that they have to show that it happened, we should accept it. Okay, be flexible and accept it. Okay, but if let's say their way of recording, okay, the evidence, etc., is inefficient. When you ask what is the evidence, it took them like macam almost 20 minutes just to retrieve it. Kan? So okay, so that it can be an indication that it is not that efficient, and you may suggest better. You not directly suggest first. You may ask them, can that be improved? Okay, I recommend that for whatever solution or improvement, initiate it from themselves first. Okay, so talk as if that the solution or the improvement should come from themselves first. If they are really blur and they do not know, then you may offer a suggestion, okay, if they ask for. Offer them, you should, if they want to know what other departments are doing. If they say yes, then you may share, but of course, again, do not impose. Okay, you want to help them find a certain method that works the best for them together with their staff. Okay, and the third one would be give them time to retrieve evidence. Okay, so if let's say you are waiting for a certain evidence to go, don't just leave it at awkward silence and just wait. Okay, and then do the berkerut kat situ. Okay, or knocking the table kan. Okay, don't do that lah. Okay, it may be stressing for them. Okay, just make it as an order lah. Order means macam tempahan. Okay, so okay, I would like to order this first. I give you some time while you are taking this. You interview another person. Okay, you look at the other file, for example, while they are retrieving certain evidence there. So be as friendly as possible and be as accommodating as possible, right? Okay, now about audit findings, or writing audit findings. These are several tips here. A common status to report, okay, certain things would be it was found that okay, so it was found that, okay, there was no TST available for this assessment, for example, something like that. Okay, it was found that, okay, it's about reporting. Okay, do not suggest, okay, TST should be more comprehensive. That is not a report finding in particular. So you report what you found. Okay, let the rectification done by them later on. As auditors, you report what you found. Okay, and then you note the objective evidence. Okay, this is the term, okay, used by auditors. Objective evidence, such as what is the name of the file, the course code, the course title, the name of the form, whatever that is relevant. The reference letter, okay, the name of the process, for example, depending on what kind of file and findings that you actually come up with. So this is an example. So there are generally two types of report, NCR and OFI. NCR refers to non-conformance report. This is a non-NCR refers to item or service found was not fulfilling the requirements of ISO, which it gives a huge disruption to the flow or quality of the process. So this is basically huge negative effect to the process. If you detect it, okay, if you identify it, that would be the NCR. NCR would be something of non-conformance, and it affects negatively, a huge negative effect to the process. For example, like did not conduct a vetting session at all for the final examination. Okay, did not conduct a moderating session, okay, between several or there was no rubrics at all to regulate how a lecturer marks an assessment, and there are several lecturers, okay, but there is no guide on how to mark certain assessment. So that one is a huge, how do I say, it gives a huge impact to the quality of marking, to the quality of the teaching and learning process. Okay, so these are huge things. For example, it was found that there was no TST developed in preparing assessment for the course, okay, ataupun a certain test, major test lah, ataupun especially final examination. Okay, final examination test. Okay, so but for little quizzes ke, like macam very small quizzes, etc. It's not, it's okay to not have a complicated TST. There might be a simple TST only, like for example, just mention the coverage of topics covered for the quiz. That's okay. Okay, mentioning the marks only. Okay, but for final examination, there should be a proper TST. Yeah, inshallah. Right. So, but if there is none found, then that would be an NCR. Okay, so because it affects a negative effect on the quality control for the examination. Now for OFIs, basically findings that conforms to ISO standard. It actually conforms to ISO standard. However, the item, service or process found a lack efficiency which give little disruption. Okay, meaning to say that the findings is smaller lah. It's basically the minor version of NCR, yeah. And then for example, it was found that there was too much coverage on certain topics in the TST. So the TST is there, okay, and the topic should be balanced. Okay, the topic should be balanced. However, this particular TST for this particular midterm examination, for example, there was an overemphasis on certain topics. Okay, so there should be a certain balancing there lah, in particular there. So the it was not balanced in terms of the distribution of topic focus. So this would be a OFI. It wouldn't be an NCR lah, okay, because there's still some TSTs there, okay, but this one, the elements in TST may cause a certain disruption because it affects fairness of the assessment. So this can be reported as OFI. So these are basically the mainly two things that auditors should report, okay, in the audit report. And like macam little things like missing signatures, missing dates, okay, missing one semesters of document, okay, but the other documents are present there. That could just be communicated verbally only. Okay, you don't need to report in the written report. Things like that, you just you tell the department that okay, you need to find this document lah. Basically that's it. It does not need to be a report in the audit report. Okay, just present it during the closing as a verbal report. Okay, but in the final audit report, just focus more on the larger one aspect, the systemic aspect. Okay, the one that is worth reporting in particular. Now that's it for the tips for audit.